What if the greatest threat to early Christianity wasn't a powerful empire or another major world religion, but a secretive cult hidden within the very fabric of Roman society? As Christianity's popularity grew, it found itself in direct competition with a mysterious faith known as Mithraism. This cult worshipped the god Mithras, a figure shrouded in myth and ritual, with a backstory stretching all the way to ancient Persia. It was a religion so popular that its hidden shrines could be found from the arid deserts of Syria to the cold forests of Germany. But while one faith went on to dominate the world, the other vanished without a trace, leaving behind a profound historical mystery. What were the hidden beliefs of this cult, and why did it fail when its rival succeeded? The answer lies in the clandestine world of a forgotten god. Before we can begin to uncover the secrets of this cult, we first have to understand the unique challenges historians face. Mithraism is what modern scholars call a mystery religion. These were secret, exclusive groups that used initiation rituals and cryptic teachings to guard their knowledge from outsiders. This extreme secrecy means that almost all of Mithraism's history and practices are now lost forever. To make matters even more difficult, the few written accounts that survived were penned by early Christians, who saw the Mithras worshippers as their primary rivals and wrote about them with an understandable bias. As if that wasn't enough, 19th-century historians added to the confusion by creating popular myths about the religion that had no basis in reality. One of the most persistent of these myths is the idea that Christianity stole key elements from Mithraism. For example, the urban legend that Jesus' birthday on December 25th was taken from a Mithraic holiday is completely false. In fact, Mithras' actual birthday is unknown, and his iconography shows him emerging not from a mother, but from a rock. This highlights how little we truly know about the religion and how much false information we have to sift through. So, with this lack of information, how do we begin to understand the god at the center of this secretive faith? The name Mithras originates in ancient Persia, where he appears as one of the Yazatas, or emanations, of the great Zoroastrian god Ahura Mazda. In Persian tradition, Mithras likely took on the characteristics of a solar deity who protected oaths and justice. Early scholars theorized that the worship of Mithras was imported directly from Persia into the Roman world after Alexander the Great's conquests, but this view has largely been dismissed by modern historians. They argue that the Roman Mithras and the Persian Mithras are two distinct figures, pointing out that the Roman version is often depicted with astrological imagery, a motif absent from his Persian counterpart. The common belief today is that the Roman faith was a unique creation designed to appeal to a Roman audience. The name Mithras was likely adopted by the Romans for its exotic appeal, much like the Anatolian goddess Cybele and the Egyptian gods Osiris and Isis, who were also reinvented for a Roman audience. So, if this god wasn't a direct import, then how did this mysterious cult become so popular across the vast Roman Empire? The origins of the Roman cult likely stem from the 1st century CE. In the small but wealthy kingdom of Commagena, the Iranian deity Mithras was already worshipped, combined with the Greek sun gods Apollo and Helios. This cult may have been a precursor to the Roman version. Ancient Roman writers like Plutarch also mention a form of Mithras being popular among the Cilician pirates who infested the coastal waters of southern Anatolia and famously kidnapped Julius Caesar. These early influences set the stage for the cult's rise. The Roman cult of Mithras likely took its final form during the 1st century CE as Roman elites and soldiers began to adopt it. Archaeological finds from this period hint at the presence of a proto-Mithraism. However, it was not until around 80 CE that the first definitive Mithraic shrines, or Mithraea, appeared in the archaeological record. What makes the cult's spread so remarkable is its geographical reach. The remains of these shrines have been found as far east as the Balkans and as far west as Germany, a testament to its immense success. But perhaps even more intriguing, Mithraism's appeal crossed social boundaries. While most famous as a soldier's religion, it was also embraced by wealthy patricians, civilian freedmen, and even enslaved people. This ability to bridge the gap between social classes provided the funds and the converts for the faith to prosper for centuries, placing it in direct competition with Christianity and other major religions of the time. But with so little written evidence, what do we know about the cult's most guarded beliefs? So, with so few written records, what did the followers of Mithras actually believe? We are forced to make educated guesses based on the iconography found in the remains of the shrines. It appears that the central myth was the birth of the god himself, who, in a truly unique origin story, is depicted springing from a rock. Other myths show him creating humans from a tree and using a bow and arrow to strike a mountain, from which a spring of water gushes forth. While these stories were clearly important, their exact sequence remains a puzzle for historians. Mithras, however, was not the only god to appear in the shrines. The iconography also features a mysterious lion-headed man coiled in a snake, whom some scholars believe is related to the Greek titan Kronos, or the evil god Ahriman from the Zoroastrian faith. Other deities found in the Mithraea include Eros, Psyche, the sun god Sol, and the goddess of magic, Hecate. Naturalistic imagery of animals like birds and dogs also appears frequently. While the purpose of these figures remains a mystery, they reveal a religion that was as diverse as it was enigmatic. But of all the images that have survived, one scene holds the key to the cult's most profound secrets. The most famous and well-discussed scene in Mithraic iconography is the tauroctony, or the slaying of the bull. In this powerful image, Mithras is shown wearing his Phrygian cap and stabbing a bull with a sword. As the bull falls, a dog and a snake drink from its fatal wound, and a scorpion latches onto the bull's scrotum. While we can confidently conclude this scene had deep symbolic value, its precise meaning is a source of intense speculation. Some scholars believe it represented a prophecy of a Roman Golden Age, while others connect it to a Zoroastrian myth. However, most modern scholars focus on the strong astrological symbolism within the image. They believe the animals represent celestial constellations, and that the act of slaying the bull symbolizes a cosmic event, such as the change of seasons or the passage of time. This interpretation suggests that members of the cult believed they possessed a unique and powerful understanding of the cosmos. Now that we have a clearer picture of their beliefs, what do we know about their day-to-day lives and their secretive rituals? Now that we have a picture of the Mithraic cosmos, we can explore the structure of the cult itself. From the few records that have survived, it appears that a follower had to ascend a ladder of 7 distinct ranks of initiation: Corax, Raven, Nymphus, Bride, Miles, Soldier, Leo, Lion, Perses, Persean, Heliodromus, Courier of the Sun, and Pater, Father. Each of these ranks had its own secret rituals, which remain a mystery. We also know that the cult was exclusively male, as no female names have been found in inscriptions at the archaeological sites. However, the cult was not entirely separate from society. The architecture of the Mithraea often resembled caves due to the cult's connection to the god, but archaeologists have discovered communal meal structures nearby that were open to women. This suggests that women participated in feasts connected to the cult, bringing the secretive world into a more public setting. Excavations have revealed animal and plant remains, along with large drinking cups, pointing to ritual meals and offerings. While some have suggested that the rituals involved hallucinogenic plants, this is difficult to prove. What is clear, however, is that despite its small numbers of actual initiates, Mithraism was a tight-knit community religion. But with its focus on secrecy and its unique rituals, what happened when it went head-to-head with an open and rapidly expanding Christianity? Mithraism reached its peak in the 2nd and 3rd centuries CE, but it was during that same period that Christianity was rapidly gaining strength. By the 400s CE, the popularity of the Mithraea had begun to dwindle. The reasons for its decline were numerous. Unlike Mithraism, which was exclusive, Christianity was an open, proselytizing faith that sought to include everyone. Additionally, as Christianity gained imperial support, it took over many of the social and community functions that Mithraism's local cells had provided. Some shrines were also destroyed by Germanic raiders on the frontiers, while others simply faded away due to a lack of interest. By the late 5th century CE, the faith had completely died out, its god disappearing like a sunset spark. But in a strange twist of fate, Mithras was not entirely forgotten. Christian writers preserved his memory in their accounts of him as a rival deity. 1,000 years later, in the Italian Renaissance, his imagery was rediscovered and used in the classical revival. Eventually, Mithraism was fully rediscovered by historians in the 19th century, sparking a modern fascination with its enigmatic nature. Today, Mithraic images still appear in our popular culture, from science fiction to fantasy series. So, while he is no longer a competitor to Christ, Mithras and his religion continue to fascinate humanity through its art, mysterious nature, and elaborate initiation rituals. And thus, the story of Mithras as a Roman god ended. It was a brief but brilliant chapter in history, a short-lived religion that, in its time, produced incredible art and a complex culture. Mithras's name, borrowed from a foreign land, became synonymous with secret rites, the slaying of cosmic bulls, and a mysterious cosmic journey. He is like a historical dawn or dusk, brief but illustrious. Although Mithraism is no longer a major religion, it remains a captivating example of cultural creativity and ritual sophistication. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, observe the zodiac. In those massive constellations, you can see an eternal tauroctony with Mithras as the protagonist. The fact that the zodiac is so closely linked to Mithras that we can conceive of it as such is perhaps Mithras's greatest victory against the forces of history. This video is the result of extensive research from respected historians, with references appearing on screen for you to explore further. If you found this captivating journey into history as fascinating as we did, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with others who love to learn. Your support allows us to continue making history both informative and entertaining. Stay tuned for our next story.